Hello, Marcus Bronzy here, and hopefully by the end of this video, I will never have to hoover again. Today we're checking out the Ledgee, if that's how you say it. I'm calling it the Ledge from now on. The Legee D8, the Ledge D8 Eco Compactor. All right, now we're gonna unbox a vacuum today and also something quite interesting that's gonna make it even easier to have your house cleaned without having to touch a thing. Before we open up today, let's get through some of the things that makes this special. Apparently, it's got a 7mm auto lift mop, which means the mop can lift itself and get onto carpets and also hard floors as well. Apparently the mop turns itself off when it's on carpets, and when it's on hard floors, a sensor works out that it's not and cracks on. Next up, we've got the Legee Slam Navigation, the LiDAR, FDS and CLS detection. So that gets it right up close to things and hopefully around some obstacles, which we will also investigate later. Tangle-less suction, so if you've got a little bit of cat hair and stuff like that, that shouldn't be a problem. It has HSSPL mopping. I don't know what that means, but luckily it tells us below. 1300 RPM high-speed mopping, 8mm reciprocate stroke. That's a strong stroke. 800 grams of pressure against the floor and 7mm auto lift on carpets. Microfiber cleaning cloths has got an eco compactor, which is environmentally friendly, no extra dust bag needed, not even require a collecting base that takes up the space. 4cm side brush, deep brush cleaning brush roll, 4x AI smart spray, and like I said, the microfiber cloths. Talent cleanup, which we use, which once it's all set up, I should be able to tell it to hoover for me. Hopefully I should be able to tell Siri to hoover for me. Right, so this is called What's in the Box. Let's get in the box. Okay, right, okay, user manual. Obviously this tells us how to set everything up, how to fill it with water, how to fill up the base, which we actually have got, surprise, surprise, I kind of hinted towards it. We've got over there, which I'll unbox in a second. And basically shows you how to get everything going, how long it needs charging for. We will get to all of these instructions once we unbox. Right, so here's most of everything in the box. It looks like we've got some replacement mop pads, which is cool. Extra little brush heads, which obviously it uses to brush stuff off the floor. A base, which is what you pop the unit onto, or you pop it on your floor and then it plugs in at the back, and that's what the unit connects into. It'll be like that, or it'll probably be something like that. If we look at where the connectors are, yeah, it'll be the other side. Power cable, which as you can see is like a DC power cable. This looks like a filter of sorts, must be. It's like a filter because these things do need filter of sorts, cool. And some other little bits, no idea what these are, but I'm sure we'll find out. Looks like lots of spares. So last but not least, out of the stuff that I found in the box is the water bottle. This is the Hobot water bottle, and it's probably used, you can see some milliliters there, probably used to fill it up. It's also got some interesting buttons on it. Play, home, a lock button, that must be a child lock because it has a 3 on it, and like a lock. M must be manual mode or something. Don't know if you can see this from the front, but you can kind of see how it raises up. There's kind of like you can see it kind of will move up and down. That's probably how it gets up and down over carpets. Can move up and down. See that? You can kind of see here, this is what it does. That's how it gets up and down. You kind of see the little hoovery bits here up over the top. That's what spins around. This is probably where we stick that mop section, and I think this moves around to mop your floor. That's where it sucks up most of the stuff. This must be where you put one of the spinny around things to get it going. I think that is correct. Let's try that now. There you go, this looks about right. It looks pretty like self-explanatory, even though I haven't got onto the instructions yet. Yeah, and that fits on there. That spins around. It's weird how it's only got one on one side though, but I guess if the robot knows what it's doing, it can always spin around and get what it needs to get without it. And that's about it really. These are the tracks that it rolls along with. There must be a way into it. Let's open it up and have a look. Okay, so in here you can see the Eco Compact. Oh, there's a little power button first, but you can switch it on and off. You can also see. What are you?
Hello, I'm Legee.
Legee. You know what, Hobot? I like the name that you called, or Hobot. Hobot. This sounds disrespectful. I'm gonna call you Legee. All right, Legee now. Come on. There's a little press thing here. You pop that. That is the Hoover unit. You can see there's the filter there. That filter there is obviously where it collects all of the gunk and muck, and this is what needs emptying, and it compacts it for you. Now this Next up is the Legee LULU, or the Legee LULU. Listen, I'm just gonna say it how I say it. Now, this is what I'm quite excited about. This is the LULU, and this is the companion to the actual unit, the D8 that we have down here. It looks like a docking station, because it is a docking station. Now, how this docking station works is it can replenish the water, take away dirty water, which they call grey water. Ooh. And there's instructions up here which kind of show you how everything works. If we head over here, you can kind of see, here's the unit. It's got a ramp of sorts, which I'll probably need to add to it. Then you can kind of tells you the distance that you need to have to plug it in all the way over here. Then you have a little bit of information about what each of the things does on it, how it cleans it up, how to get rid of the waste water, and how to get rid of the waste out of it as well. So, also 2 buttons here. I don't know what they do yet, but I'm sure we'll find out. But basically, the idea is we get this, set it up with this, and I will never, ever have to hoover again.
So the next steps is getting it set up. So there's the LULU there. Simply just take it. It's empty at the moment, got no water in it, so pretty light. Plug it into the wall and then crack on with setting up the Legee itself. And that really means all I have to do is grab it out the box because it's put together already. Well, this version is. Yours might need a few parts that click together, but it's pretty simple. And then there's that little mop there that you stick on the back. A little bit of Velcro and you are good to go. Another thing that we need to pop on is the little brush that sweeps up bits of debris and does a little bit of sweeping, and you pop that on there as well. Simple, good to go. Flip it over and then we need to get it connected up. I've connected my iPad here, so I'll try and show you here as much as possible, and then when it gets into the finer details I'll give you a little screen recording. That's me just checking the water levels there. I believe there's none in there at the moment, but yeah, let's crack on. So next up, you get the app connected to your Wi-Fi. Don't need to see that bit. It asks you to press a few buttons on the Legee to connect it, and then connect it to the app. So you'll see here, it will have a little dial that starts to connect, and then it will initialize it and get things going. There you go. And that goes all the way from 0 up to 100. Next, you get to naming your device, and then after that, you crack straight on with mapping. Now, pretty much, you press go, it goes off for a little walkies or a rollies and starts to do the mapping. So while it goes off and does all of that, what I'm going to do is show you around the app with a little screen record so we can get a little bit further into what happens in it. So here's the app. It's pretty much where everything happens here in the digital world, obviously, while the Legee's doing all the physical stuff. So you can see there's your device there. I clicked into some Siri settings, which I'll get back to in just a moment. But here's the app showing that the Legee's fully charged. At the top, if you tap the icons, it can show you the water tank levels, the trash bin levels, the sensor levels. If there's anything wrong, a red dot there, that means you need to address it. If everything's green, you're good to go. The map below it is constantly updating, so the Legee always updates its map as it goes around. So if there's ever an issue or something in the way, don't worry, you can move it and it will further do some more later. Now you can see at the bottom left, I've clicked LULU, which is the washing station. You can see the settings for wash and dry. You can manually get it to wash and dry and start drying separately as well, which you may need to do if there's a lot of water in the bottom of your Legee. There's the main map area here. Here you can basically get an overview of the map and select a specific area to clean. I'll talk to you more about breaking up those areas later. You can also choose the type of clean you get as well, which I'll also talk in a moment. You can also appoint an area specifically to clean. So you can actually select a box, change the size of it and say just clean that area if you've had a spillage there or an extra bit of mess there that you want it to clean up. Next, I'm going to be selecting the different cleaning modes. So you've got standard there, you've got power suction, eco mode, deep cleaning mode, your own settings which you can set, a little dusting, dry mode, even a stain mode, and a tangleless mode. Standard mode pretty much does everything you need to do and adjusts as you need it, and then as you get more familiar with what the strengths and weaknesses are, you can crack on from there. Time to get into some of the deeper settings. Here you can see a cleaning diary, because you can see exactly how long it took to clean, when it cleaned, where it cleaned as well. You can download that, which is really good to look at, see if there's any cleans that didn't work very well, where exactly it cleaned in a property, and crack on from there. Next up, we have the cleaning schedule, which I'll select for you. You can actually select schedule. So here you go, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Within that, you can choose whether it cleans a select area, an entire area, and the type of cleaning mode as well, which is really good because it cracks on and does its own thing and you're hands off. You can remote control the unit yourself. This is great for testing it, see if there's any issues, and also just moving it around, have a little clean manually if you really want to, but I don't really want to do that. There's quick map, which it does out the box. You don't really need to worry about doing that again unless there's big issues with your map and you need it to remap or there's loads of stuff in the way. Next up, you've got map settings, which I said I would discuss. Here is where you can break up its first scan into different rooms, different areas, and I'll show you the finite settings in this area editor here. So you have a virtual barrier that literally means it cannot go through anywhere, a virtual box as well, which you can say do not go there as well if you've got pets or kids areas you don't want it to be at, a curtain zone where it kind of is aware that there's curtains there, so we'll clean slightly differently. I'll show you that in just a moment as well. Weaken climbing, so it doesn't try to overzealously climb over something you don't want it to. A carpet zone where it turns off the mopping feature because you don't want to get a wet carpet. You can merge areas, split areas, rename areas, so it can be really granular with how you clean, where you're cleaning and when you're cleaning, which, if I'm honest with you, is one of my favorite bits because you get that right and then it can just be set and forget. You can have many maps on the device as well. Good if you want to use it between floors. Now here's the LULU settings, and basically what it does is you can set the auto wash on or off. I have those on. Set whether it does an auto wash after each task, which is my preference, whether after a certain amount of cleaning time or cleaning specific areas. If you know there's a certain grubby area and you want it to really make sure it cleans, or you just want it to give a light dusting and clean it less often, you can choose here. I suggest maximum drying time because I like my stuff to be dry, and I hate dampness because dampness makes smell and bacteria. Let's move on to the next section of the app. Here you get some more granular settings. When I come out of that, get back into that menu at the top right and then select maintenance and management. Now here you can see more detail if there's any issues like emptying the trash bin, sensor status, whether weaken climbing is on, child lock is on, water tank status, all of that stuff. And here's where you can have a little bit of fun as well. If you select creative voice, then you can actually change the voice of your Legee. That's right. So you can actually say, hello, hi, I'm going to go and clean, or whatever. Have a little bit of a laugh with that, which is cool. It's fun. You can also set a voice memo. It can actually just give you kind of an alarm and announcement. You can set the when and where of it. And as well as that, you also have the Siri settings, which you can also access from the main menu as well. And you can also access the creative voice from the main menu as well. So you can be like, hey Siri, start cleaning. Hey Siri, pause cleaning, and such. So you can have a fully automated setup, or you can just, with a quick chat to your Apple Watch or phone or device, HomePod, get your Legee cracking on. Now, let's also not forget that you do have the LULU tanks to fill, and I set those up, fill them with a bit of fresh water there. It does ask that you use a specific type of filtered water, gives you all the instructions there. A Brita filter can pretty much do that, but I've got pretty good filtered water at mine. Good water means less clunkiness and lime scale and stuff potentially in the mechanics of it. Wastewater doesn't need anything doing with it just yet. So there you go, it's all set up. And the Legee is off to go for its first proper clean. Quick note here, the unit actually gave a little clean as it was doing the mapping. So straight out of the box, maybe it's good that you make sure that the Legee's filled with water and make sure the LULU's filled with water before you even do any of the scanning in the future. But I mean, there's no water in it. That was no harm, no foul. And here we go. It's cracking right on. So you pretty much leave it to it. A couple bits of advice: make sure there's enough space around the base for it to get out and about. And then when it's in auto mode, it really just cracks on and does its stuff. It may move a bit erratically at the start. Oh, there you can see the mop working at the back while it's on the hard fall. It may move a little bit erratically the first few times when it's going around, but it's just trying to get its lay of the land and map. And then when it does that, it can do really well. Here you can see the unit sweeping up mess on a hard floor. I will show you some carpet in just a moment. You can really see that mop giving it some, and look, there you go, you can see a little bit of moisture there coming out the back of it sometimes, and that can depend on how much it sprays to clean and how much moisture there was there initially. There's it on a carpet working its way around, and the mop actually does turn itself off because, again, you don't want to be spraying water. You can see the mop is inactive there because it's in a carpet area, and it will kind of learn the boundaries and try its best. Here it is working against curtains. You got to give them a little nudge to make sure it gets under them as well. And there it is. This was really impressive. It working its way around chairs. I thought this was going to be a no-go area, like I'd have to move the chairs up off onto the top of the table for it to get around, but it just so happens that it's the right size for it to get right in and around all of the chairs. Probably the most impressive thing that I saw it do, as well as some climbing, which again, I feel like I'm saying this a lot. I'll show you in just a moment, but there you go. And it consistently is mapping and working out where everything is, and it may look like it's going over areas in a weird way, but remember, it's got to get that right corner to pick up the first bits of debris before it rolls over it with its conventional sort of suction roller hoover bit too. So it'll look like it's doing little loopy loops, but do not worry, it's kind of working around and doing its thing. There you can see another close up of the mop working as it gets over that floor there, giving it a little sweep. So I guess now it's time to talk about the climb. 20 millimeters, aka 2 centimeters, is apparently what it can climb up, and putting it to the test on the steepest areas that I could find, it did pretty well. Look at this. This is about 1 and a bit centimeters, and I think it very easily manages to handle those. And just for the record, of course, that covers carpets as well. You can see that's pretty shaggy, and it got over it just well. Now, something else that's interesting is when the Hobot comes against something that is a little bit of a challenging thing here. You've got a little coffee table with some like weird bits. It really attempts to get over, inside, and clean around. If you want to reduce these attempts, you can turn on the reduce climb mode and it'll try a little less harder, but I think that's pretty nice. Get in there. Another thing I was curious was what if I get in its way, or what if it gets in my way? And this is how the Legee deals with you moving stuff around, including your own body parts. There you go, give you a little nudge, boop, there you go, boop, there you go, and it'll crack right on. So yeah, I think I'm probably going to annoy it a little bit here, but that's what happens when you're in the way of it. Its little bumper kind of takes a little bit of an impact, and then it will crack right on with your day. So yeah, once you have the unit set up, you pretty much let it crack on, do its thing. Try not to annoy it too much. I've also seen other content where there are pets around and it seems to walk around that just fine as well. Roll around it, should I say. So when a clean is all done, you can see it will make its way back to the LULU, back for a clean as well. It will make a little noise. If you want it to, you can also turn those off. Crack on, back itself up, and get itself full of some fresh water. And of course, get that little mop cleaned as well. The LULU will let you know via the app when it needs some fresh water. There you can see that wastewater filling up as it gives it a little clean. It will let you know when you need to fill up the clean water, and you can clearly see as well with the top of these units here when they're full of waste water as well. Which leads me onto my first little build. When it comes to the cleaning, I did find there was a little bit of water leakage that came out of the unit as it was being cleaned by the LULU. Now, the way I fixed this was, one, just having a look and making sure all the parts were in the right place. I took everything apart, put it back together again. There's details of how you do it. And I also didn't fill the water tank all the way up to the top. Now, I don't know which of those ones fixed it, but I basically jiggled everything around, including moving the ramp, making sure the LULU was balanced. And after that, that issue didn't seem to happen again. If that does happen, it may be a case of just jiggling and moving the bits around just to make sure they're set. And then once that's done once, don't really have to worry about it again. If you're wondering what the dirty water looks like once the LULU's done some cleaning, yeah, there you go. I'll give you a little look at what they call the grey watering industry. Lovely stuff. Ugh. Pour that away, fill up the clean water tank, and you're good to go. It will let you know when it's time to empty its tank, but you can do it whenever you want. That's the little dust tank there, and you can see that it's pretty good picking up quite a bit of different sizes of mess and debris as well. And it is also pretty decent at picking up hairs too, and they end up in a very special place most of the time as well. That's the eco compactor there. You can see it's got a little filter there. That's where you can open it all up. You can even give all those bits a wash and a dry to make sure that they are working as best as they can. You empty that out, and then you pop that back inside the unit. Now, it's a very technical device with lots of moving parts, but it's also a hoover, so it's picking up a lot of stuff. And hoovers, we all know, can pick up bits and bobs that get jimmed and jammed in it, and there's one way that you can deal with it. Here you can see in the top of the unit, you actually have just above the water tank there, which I don't need to fill manually because I got the LULU. Little device with a little knife on it, which helps you cut away things like excess hair. Look at all of that stuff there. And you chip away at those nice and easily and put those in the bin. Look, all hoovers pick up stuff like this, so it wasn't something that, you know, I don't love doing it, but it's not something that I mind. And if you think that things are a little bit jammed up further in, you can actually open up the unit. And this is what I like about the unit. It's very modular. You can pull it apart, give it a clean, clear off the brushes, wash them, dry them if you need to as well. You can also buy replacement parts too. Look at that. If you don't like that, don't worry, I'll stop now. So final thoughts is I definitely would recommend getting any unit like this with a cleaning station. I don't want to be bending down, messing up my lower back, picking up bits and bobs here and there. I'd rather a unit that does a little bit more for you. In terms of its mapping, it works just fine. In terms of it consistently adjusting to what's around it, I'm really happy with that. I guess the next case is seeing how this unit works with us over time. It's a simple unit to use, very good at explaining how everything works, and I definitely recommend, if you do get your hands on it, spend the time to let it map properly, spend the time to adjust the map for carpets here and there, you know, make sure that you're putting good water into it, take a little bit of time maintaining it as well, and then set it and forget it. The thing with this tech for me is you don't want to be having to keep an eye on it all the time. Oh, is it doing this? Is it doing that? Adjusting it all the time. No. What you want to do is you want to set it, forget it, and have to do less cleaning in your house. In terms of the way that it cleans, hard floors, it's very good at picking up everything. In terms of hoovering, I've not really got a big issue with it yet. And I will continue to update you. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. In the meantime, I've been Marcus Bronzy. This has been How to Kill an Hour, and we'll be with you real soon. Now, I'm off to go read a book or something, because guess who doesn't have to do any hoovering? Peace.